Hey, we are already in reading 8, and Roxy's kind of thinking, what are you thinking, Roxy? She's kind of thinking that it must be scary, right, Roxy? Scary for Shiloh to be in that pen at night all by himself. And there here Judd came too, which is scary, so Roxy's hoping she never goes to Judd's house, right? Is that what you're hoping? I know you. Well, I won't let you. But here we get going on reading 8. Night in West Virginia is as dark as black can be. No car lights sweeping along my walls or ceiling like when I stay overnight with David Howard down in Friendly. No street lamps shining in the windows, no lights from next door houses. Where I live, there ain't no street lamps at all, no house close enough to see from our windows. My eyes are open anyway. I stare up into the darkness of the living room and the darkness stares back. I'm remembering how once, several years ago, when Ma bought some chocolate rabbits one Easter for me and Dara Lynn, I had finished eating mine, but Dara Lynn took only a nibble of hers every day or so, keeping it up in her dresser in its pink and yellow tinfoil, driving me nuts. And one day, I just crept in there and ate off one of the rabbit ears. Dara Lynn, of course, threw a fit, and when Ma asked me if I'd done it, I said no. I could feel my cheeks and neck burning red. "You sure, Marty?" she asked. And I only nodded and left the room. It was one of the worst days of my life. About an hour later, she came out on the porch where I was pushing myself slow in the swing and sat down beside me. "You know, Marty," she said, "Dara Lynn don't know who ate the ear off her rabbit candy, or candy rabbit, and I don't know who did it, but Jesus knows." And right that very minute, Jesus is looking down with the saddest eyes on the person who ate that chocolate. The Bible says that the worst thing that can ever possibly happen to us is to be separated forever from God's love. I hope you'll keep that in mind. Sounds like Ma knows he did it. I just swallowed and didn't say anything, but before I went to bed, when Ma asked me again about the rabbit, I gulped and said yes. And she made me get down on my knees and ask God for God's forgiveness, which wasn't so bad. I honestly felt better afterward. But then she said that Jesus wanted me to go to the next room and tell Dara Lynn what I had done, and Dara Lynn had a fit all over again. Threw a box of Crayolas at me and could have broken my nose. Called me a rotten, greedy pig. If that made Jesus sad, Ma never said. Now as I study the darkness in the room around me, I'm thinking about lies again. I hadn't lied to Judd Travers when I said I hadn't seen him today in this yard. That was the honest to God truth, because Shiloh hadn't been anywhere near our yard. But I also know that you can lie not only by what you're saying, but what you don't say. Nothing I told Judd was an outright lie, but what I kept inside myself made him think that I hadn't seen the dog at all. "Jesus," I finally whispered, "what you want me to do? Be 100% honest and carry that dog back to Judd so that one of your creatures can be kicked and starved all over again? Or keep him here and fatten him up to glorify your creation?" See, we've talked about that before, you know. Is there a chance that sometimes you're doing the wrong thing is the right thing? You know, that's a tough one. The question seemed to answer itself, and I'm pretty proud of my prayer. Repeat it to myself so to remember it in the case I need to use it again. If Jesus is anything like the story cards from Sunday school that they make him out to be, he ain't the kind to want a thin little beagle to be hurt. The problem's more mixed up than that, though. I'm lying to my folks as well, and I'm not eating the leftover meatloaf I've put away. Every bit of food saved is money saved that could go to buy Daryl Lynn a new pair of shoes so Ma won't have to cut open the tops of her old ones to give her toes more room. And every bit of food wasted is money wasted. And if we ever have the least little bit of money to spare that doesn't have to go for the care of Grandma Preston, first thing we all want is a telephone so we don't have to ride down to Doc Murphy's to use his. But the way I figure, if it's food from my own plate, I would have eaten it myself, but I don't, so what's the harm in that? Next morning, when I get up to see Shiloh, I put the rope on his collar and lead him to the other side of the hill again, out of sight of all but God. And then I let him go, and we race and tumble and laugh and roll, stopping now and then just to lie in the clover, me on my back, Shiloh on his stomach, both of us panting and nuzzling each other. Don't know if Shiloh's getting more human or I'm getting to be more dog. If Jesus ever comes back to earth again, I'm thinking he'll come as a dog, because there isn't anything as humble or patient or loving or loyal as a dog, and I have him as the dog I have in my arms right now. We eat our Sunday meal, but by late afternoon, storm clouds rolling in and the rain beats down on the tin roof of our house, streaming down the window glass, making a small pond in the side yard. I can't help staring out the window at the far end of the hill. Will Shiloh, can he even leap that fence to try to go somewhere that's more dry? Is he smart enough to go under that lean-to I made for him? Have I built it right, away from the wind? What if he gets to howling? In 20 minutes, though, the rain stops, and the sun comes out, and the birds start to sing again, and all the worms oozing up out of the wet mud. Shiloh stayed where he was, trusting me that where I put him was best, and being quiet like he knows his life depends on it. Marty, Dad says, going outside with a rag to wipe off his Jeep. I saw Mrs. Howard yesterday, and she said David was back from Tennessee, wanting to know when you boys could get together. She said David would like to come up here someday next week. Well, I like David Howard fine, but I sure don't want him up here. David likes the hill and always wants to play there, and he's not afraid of snakes like the way Daryl Lynn is. David, in fact, likes to go to the very top of the hill and then go running lickety-split down it, racing to see who's the first to the fence at the bottom. Likes to climb the trees up there, too, and play lookout. Well, I'll go down to David's tomorrow, I said. I'd rather do that. Why don't you do both? Ma said, coming out to throw some mash to the hens. You've hardly seen your friends all summer, Marty. Why don't you go down to Friendly one afternoon and ask David to come up here? Another. There's nothing much to do up here, I say, not knowing how else to answer. It was the wrong answer. Both Ma and Dad were looking at me now. You just said the other day you had plenty to do, Dad tells me, wringing out his rag at the pump. Lots for me to do, but not too much for David Howard, I say. A lie. That's a flat-out lie. Funny how one lie leads to another, and before you know it, your whole life is a lie. I sit on the porch swing later, not even bothering to push it, and listening to the table being set inside. What you figure is wrong with that boy, Lou? Dad's voice. Just being 11, I guess, Ma tells him. 11's a moody age. Was for me anyways. You think that's all it is? Well, what pleases you one day don't please all the next. What more do you think it is? Don't think he's got that dog on his mind still, do you? 11's got about everything on its mind, Ma answers. And then the evening news comes on, and Daryl Lynn and Becky come out on the porch, leaving Daddy to the TV. Daryl Lynn's got the devil in her tonight. A little bit bored with summer, but not quite ready for school to start. Just for devilment, she plunks herself down beside me in that swing and starts doing everything I do. I sigh. She sighs. I rest my arms on my head. She does the same. Gets Becky doing it too, both of them laughing to beat the band. Well, when I've had my fill of this nonsense, I just decided to go up the hill and see how Shiloh's doing. But as I go down off the porch, Daryl Lynn gets up and makes as if to follow me. I stop. I'm looking to find me a snake stick, I say as to myself. I'm looking to find me a snake stick, Daryl Lynn says. I don't pay her no mind at all, just start walking along the edge of the yard, picking up a stick here and a stick there, and Daryl Lynn tagging along behind. It's got to have the longest handle and a good strong fork on the end, I say, because that was the biggest, meanest snake I ever saw in my whole life. Daryl Lynn stops dead. She couldn't say all that right if she tried, but she's not interested anymore in trying. What snake? She said. Snake I saw up on the hill this morning. I tell her. Must have been 4 or 5 feet long, just looking for somebody's leg to wrap itself around. Daryl Lynn don't go much further. Becky don't even come down off the porch. What you gonna do when you find it? Daryl Lynn asks. Try to keep it from biting me first, pick it up with my stick, and second put it in a sack and carry it clear on past the Shiloh schoolhouse. Let it out in the woods there. Won't kill it unless I have to. Kill it, says Daryl Lynn. Get your gun and blow its head off. You've been watching too much stuff on TV, Daryl Lynn, I tell her. Even snakes got the right to live. I'm thinking, how if I ever become a vet's helper? I've got to take care of pet snakes, too. So, here's the end of Reading 8. So take out your Google Doc, do your awesome summary, questions, predictions, feelings, and thoughts. Hey, see you next time for Reading 9.